I'm so excited. It's fall DIY season. I have been counting down the days until I could start making fall crafts. Fall is my favorite season and I cannot wait until it is officially here. It has been so hot and humid where we live. I'm definitely looking forward to the cooler temperatures and just those crisp mornings and when I can start building a fire in our fireplace. Thank you for stopping by Lavender and Lace today. I am Alicia, and I have several really cute projects for you all today. If you like farmhouse DIYs, rustic decor, just crafting in general, I hope you consider subscribing. And let's get started with today's projects. For the first project, I needed 2 of these wooden cutouts from the Dollar Tree and also one of their small wooden crates. And these were new to me this year. I have seen the other ones that are the thinner wood cutouts, but these are thicker. I haven't seen them before previously in my store. I would love to know if you guys have had them in your stores. And I just took some of the deco paint in that blue color that I really like. I love this color for fall and I have used it quite a bit in the past couple of years for my projects. I just did 1 coat of light coverage. I wanted some of that wood grain to show through. And I did the front and back of both of my truck cutouts. And I also painted my wooden crate in that blue color. And I took some of my Waverly chalk paint in the color truffle. And I did the rails on both pieces of my trucks. I wanted both sides to be painted and finished. And then I just took some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink and painted the tires. Then just to add some distressing, I used one of my small chip brushes and some of my antique wax and just went around the edges lightly and just put some rust color on this truck. I love how this distresses a piece. I just wanted it to look like an old work truck that had been used and well loved. And I did this for both pieces, front and back as well. I wanted each side to look finished and complete. And I also distressed just 2 sides of that small wooden crate, which will be the truck bed for this. And I had this really cute silk screen transfer from Chalk Couture. This came in a big pack of fall designs, and I'm not sure if they still have this available right now. If they do, I will find that link and put it in the description box. And I just used my bright white chalk paint, and I put that decal on both pieces of my truck. And I just used some wood glue, super glue from the Dollar Tree and some hot glue and glued down my truck bed, and this crate fit perfectly with this wood cutout. It just fit really well underneath the rails for the truck bed, and you weren't able to see that once I got both of these pieces put together. And I have lots of pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. I think I got every color and every different texture that they had last year. So I just wanted to use those to fill up my truck bed. And I thought the white and oranges and kind of the burlap colors looked the best for this one. And I did add a blue one to just kind of pull up that color of the truck. And this one is finished. This is super cute. I love this one. What do you guys think? I found these shadow boxes with the maple leaf cutout at my local thrift store, and I noticed the tag on the back. These were $18 a piece originally. I would not pay that much. I hope whoever bought these got them on sale, but I was able to get those for $2 a piece. And you know you have to tear things apart when you DIY before you can start creating. So I just deconstructed that box and removed the back piece and pulled off what I could of the paper, and then I just took it out to my garage and used my husband's electric sander and just got that surface smooth and ready to paint. And I just did one coat of my Waverly chalk paint in the color white. And then for the actual shadow box, I used my celery colored chalk paint, and this took 4 coats to get complete coverage. I could have sanded this down, but I was afraid I would break this part of the box if I put that much pressure on there with the sander. So I just painted and used my small heat gun and dried between coats, so it didn't take too long actually from start to finish to get these painted. And I made sure to also cover the inlay part of the leaf cutout. And then I took my Waverly Antique Wax and my chip brush once again and just gave these pieces some distressing. I really paid close attention to the leaf cutout. I wanted that to look very rustic and worn. And I also went around the outside edges as well with this antique wax just to make those look a little bit rougher. And then I took my sanding block and went around the corners and the edges again just to give that some extra distressing. And this did allow you to see that red paint once again, but I was okay with that. I thought it just added to this piece and gave it just a little bit more character. And for those inserts, I picked up several different fall designs of napkins at Hobby Lobby, and I loved this one. I thought those green leaves would just match that celery paint color very nicely. And I have seen a couple of other crafters that use the Elmer's glue sticks when they do napkin projects, and I haven't tried that before. This was the first one that I have actually used the glue stick with, and I thought it worked really well. It didn't get my napkin as wet as when I used the Mod Podge. And I still had just a few wrinkles when I put my napkin down on my wood piece, but I used my brayer and it really helped to smooth those out, and it just gave this a really nice finish. And I just trimmed off the excess napkin and took my nail file and just went around and filed all of the edges and got a good clean finish to that. And then I just took some hot glue and reattached the backing to each of the shadow boxes and reattached the hardware, and these are ready to go up with all of my other fall decor. This next project is super simple and comes together quickly. I just took one of the wooden signs from the Dollar Tree that was covered with glitter, and I just took that outside and sanded that down and gave it 2 good coats of my Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. And while my paint was drying, I just took one of these super cute placemats that I found this year at the Dollar Tree. I don't know what it is with me and the blue trucks this year for fall, but I'm just loving that color. And I just trimmed out around the truck. And then I took about 10 to 12 of the smaller popsicle sticks, just trimmed off the edges from all of those, and placed those down to frame out my sign, and just measured out the other pieces and the sizes that I would need and just trim those down, and took my nail file and just filed off those rough edges, and this worked great. I think it worked better than my sanding block. And you can't see it very well in the video, but I did just take a piece of packing tape and just put that upside down and stuck down my popsicle sticks, and I stained those with my Waverly Antique Wax, and I also stained my Hello Fall wooden cutout, and I just did some light distressing over the surface of my sign. And if you don't like distressing, you can completely skip this step. And then I just took my cutout and all of my framing pieces and my wooden word, just placed those down and did a dry fit to make sure everything was going to be in the right place. And I just started attaching everything with some hot glue. And once all my framing was down, I went back with my hot glue and just put my truck in the center of my sign. And I also used my brayer to just help me smooth out that hot glue. And if I had worked just a little bit quicker with this step, I wouldn't have any of the bumps left from that hot glue. So give this a try the next time you're working with a placemat and hot glue. And then I just glued down my Hello Fall sign. Cut out, not sign. And then I just took some ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I had this one that I just looped over, took a piece of jute and just made the loops and went back in with another piece of that ribbon to cover up the jute twine. And I made just another simple shoelace bow with some of the lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just glued both of those down in the corner. And I had several of these leaf buttons in my stash. I have had these for years, and when I say years, probably 6, 7 or more. I used to have this button fetish, I guess you'd say. Every time I went to the store, I bought some more. And then I just moved my hanger so it would match the orientation of my sign, and this is ready to be displayed. Let me know what you guys think about this one. If you want to recreate this project, you will need one of these wood planks from the Dollar Tree, one of the wooden dice, also from the Dollar Tree, and a wooden spool that you can get in a pack from Hobby Lobby. You'll stain those with your favorite color stain. I just used my Waverly Antique Wax. You will also need 5 canning rings with the lids. I did 2 of the wide mouth and 3 of the regular size. And I painted these with 2 coats of chalk paint in the color orange. I would highly recommend that you spray paint these. Since I did not have any spray paint on hand, I went ahead and used my chalk paint, and then I just sealed these with my acrylic sealer. And while those were drying, I got some napkins ready. These were all 3-ply, so I just removed all of those extra layers and cut those out into smaller squares to make those easier to apply to my lids. And I just used my Elmer's glue stick once again, pressed that down really well, and I opted not to paint that rubber seal on the inside of these lids. You can paint that if you wanted to, but at this point in the project I was really tired of painting, so I decided to just leave that as is. Just trimmed off any of the excess and used my nail file once again to get a good clean edge around these lids. And I just glued those back into the rings. And I went outside and just found some sticks to use for the stems of these little pumpkins. And I found one that had some lichen growing on it, and I thought that would be super cute to add. And it just looks like some of the leaves that you would see on the pumpkins. So I just cut off some sizes that I thought would work well for these and just glued them to the tops of each pumpkin with some hot glue. And I just laid everything out to see how it was going to look on my board. And I just glued down my spool and the dice with some of the super glue that you can get, the wood super glue from the Dollar Tree, as well as some hot glue. And I tried to make sure I alternated all of my napkin patterns so 2 of the same wouldn't be right side by side. And you also might want to use some E6000 or something else along with the hot glue to glue your pumpkins down, just to give you that extra stability and make sure that these don't come off in hot temperatures or if they get kind of knocked or bumped around. And I used some of my wooden letter tiles to just spell out my word, and I glued those down with some hot glue as well. And for some finishing touches, I just added some Spanish moss all around my little pumpkins to look like they were in the pumpkin patch. I also added some orange pit berries. I wish I would have had some cream colored ones, but I was out of those. And I took just a few of the little glittery styrofoam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and added those in as well. And this is absolutely adorable. I love this. I cannot wait to put this out with everything else. And these would also be great to make and sell at fall craft shows if you have any of those coming up. Let me know what you guys think about this one. The inspiration for this next project came from Hobby Lobby. I love all of the pumpkins that they have every year for fall, all of the different textures and the different colors. And my favorite ones are the Sherpa pumpkins and also the sweater ones. And I thought I could recreate the sweater ones with some finds that I had picked up at my local thrift store. So that was the challenge that I gave myself for this project. And I found two sweaters that I liked. I just liked the different ribbing and the textures to these. I got a couple of different colors, and I started by cutting these down, removed the sleeves from both of them, and the other one that I didn't show you on camera was a cardigan, so the front was open on that one. And this gray one was a bigger size, so I knew I would be able to get two pumpkins from this larger panel piece that I'm cutting out. So I just folded that piece over and kind of found the middle section and just cut this into two pieces. And if you do make these pumpkins, you will have an opening on the top and the bottom. You don't want any of your sides to be open. So I just took some of my fabric hot glue and just went back through where I had cut these apart and just got my seams put back together, so it would make these a lot easier to stuff. And if you have a sewing machine, feel free to use that if you want to. I just didn't want to have to get mine out. And then you will just bunch up the bottom and make sure that your fabric is still the wrong side out. Just take a rubber band and just close up the bottom of that, and this will become the bottom of your pumpkin. And I did the same thing with the sleeves. I just turned those wrong side out, and I actually wound up cutting the cuffs off the bottom of these. It just made it look a little bit nicer. Just take that rubber band once again and cinch that closed, and you can trim these as well if you need to. And then I just had some of the polyfill fiber stuffing. I just took small sections of that, kind of fluffed it up, just stuffed my pocket that I had made with my sweater piece, and I just kept stuffing that and shaping it until it looked like a pumpkin. I wasn't going for perfection here or having a perfectly symmetrical pumpkin. I wanted this to kind of look realistic. So I just kept playing around with that until I was happy with the shape. And you will do that same thing with all of your fabric pieces that you have for your pumpkins. And once again, you'll just take a rubber band to close that top, and that will become your stem. And to segment off my pumpkin, I just took some yarn, and feel free to use a coordinating color or one that is contrasting with your sweater color. And you will need to start with a very long piece of yarn, maybe not as long as what I'm showing here in the video. And I used a yarn needle, but you could use a dull needle as well. You'll just want a longer needle that will help you get that yarn through. and you'll just start making your segments on your pumpkin. I started by going up through the bottom of my pumpkin, and I went all the way around. So my first segments would be like from 12 to 6, and then my second ones would be from 3 to 9, and I would just continue to go up through the bottom, back down through the top, and just continue to make my segments that way. And once I had my 4 main sections, I just went back and did half of those, and I got 8 segments for each of my pumpkins. And the tighter you pull, the more definition you will get for each of your segments. And then you will just knot your yarn on the bottom. And then if you have a lot of extra fabric on the top where you close that with your rubber band, you will just take some scissors and trim that off. It just makes it easier to start wrapping for your stem. And you can continue to trim that as you go. And I just wrapped this bulkier fabric at the bottom of my stem and just secured that with some hot glue before I started wrapping. And I used yarn for my stem. That's just what I had on hand. You could use jute twine or leather cording, I think would look really good on these pumpkins. But you will just wrap, and if you keep your yarn or string, whatever you're using, a little bit tighter, it will help your stem to get thinner as you go to the top. And if you have excess fabric at the top, just go ahead and trim that again as you're finishing this off. And I did use a little bit of extra hot glue at the top just to make sure my yarn wouldn't slip off. And you can do all different shapes and sizes with your stems just to give your pumpkins a lot of character. And to embellish these, I just took several different prints of fall fabric that I had in my stash, and I had some scrap lace that I thought would look really pretty with all of the other different textures and the colors. And I just cut some strips of that lace, and then for my fabric I just cut a slit at the bottom and just ripped off several pieces of this to go around the stems of my pumpkins. And I just alternated the different colors of fabric that I had, and I opted not to glue these down. I just thought it would be easier, and if I wanted to take these off, I just tied them around the stem, and that helped me get those in place better and just move those around as I was working on these. And I also took some raffia just to give that a little bit of different texture. And I had these leather leaves in my stash from Dollar Tree from last year, and added those and some of these orange pit berries. And these pumpkins are ready to go. I think I got 7 of these from 2 sweaters, so total that would be about 85 cents a piece. I think I met the challenge and did a great job with that. Let me know what you guys think about these. I love all of the textures and the colors that these give, and these will add just an extra cozy touch to your fall decor this year. That wraps up the first round of fall DIYs. I hope you guys enjoyed the projects today. I had a lot of fun with these, and I would love to know which one is your favorite. I can never decide which one I like the best. Every project I do, I say is the cutest one that I've made so far. But I hope these just inspire you to get started with your fall crafting a little bit early. I really appreciate you all watching the video today. Your support means a lot as I am trying to grow this channel. So please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you did enjoy today's video and know someone else that might like these crafts as well, please share, and I will see you all in the next one.